All right, let's just get right into it. If you have natural hair, you know the deal. Wash day can feel, well, it can feel like a whole workout. And your brush, it can either be your absolute best friend or your number one enemy. Today, we're going to figure out how to make sure it's the first one.
This quote from Ed Shears at HairBrushy.com, I mean, come on. It just nails it, right? It's not just a quick brush through. No way. It's a process. It's a plan. And yeah, let's be real, sometimes it's a major struggle.
So here's the big question we're really digging into today. Is all the hype around these special brushes for real? Can one tool, the right tool, actually be the difference between a great hair day and, a day filled with breakage and frustration? To get to the bottom of this, we're not just guessing. We are diving deep into a fantastic, super detailed comparison from HairBrushy.com. They actually put the most popular brushes for natural hair to the test, and we're going to break down exactly what they found.
Okay, so let's introduce the main players in today's showdown. These are the 3 brushes you see everywhere, in every YouTube tutorial and every blog post, each one promising to be the one.
So in the ring, we have the Easy Detangler, which is famous for being super flexible. Then there's the absolute classic, the Denman D3. And finally, the one you can find pretty much anywhere, the Wet Brush Original Detangler. 3 very famous brushes, but 3 very, very different approaches.
But hold on. Before we even compare them head-to-head, the analysis from HairBrushy.com uncovered this, like a core truth, a huge insight. It turns out it's not just about the act of brushing, it's about what you're trying to accomplish. What's the goal?
And it really boils down to 2 different jobs. On one side, you've got low-tension detangling. The mission here is simple. Get rid of knots as gently as possible with the least amount of pulling and breakage. On the other side, you've got high-tension styling. Here, you actually want the brush to grip the hair, to pull it taut, so you can create those juicy, defined curl clumps. And here's the kicker. A brush is usually amazing at one of these things, but not really both.
Okay, so keeping that idea in mind, detangling versus styling, let's finally look at the brushes themselves and see how this all shakes out. We're going to see what each one was built to do and who it's really truly for.
First up is the Easy Detangler. And I mean, the name pretty much says it all, doesn't it? This brush was literally engineered for one job and one job only, to get through the thickest, tightest coils with as little tension and drama as possible.
So, how does it work? What's the magic? Well, look at the design. The rows of bristles aren't stuck in place. They actually move and separate as you brush. This whole design is meant to mimic detangling with your fingers, which is why it is such a game changer for really tight 3C to 4C coils. It just gives way instead of pulling, which means way less breakage.
And this quote from a user in the article just sums it up perfectly. It's the holy grail if you have thick coils or a sensitive scalp. But that warning, it is so important. That same flexibility that makes it amazing on wet, conditioned hair is exactly what makes it a disaster on dry hair. So the big takeaway, please, please use it wet. All right, next up, the legend itself, the Denman D3. And this right here is where the biggest confusion happens. So many people buy this brush thinking it's for detangling, but its actual design, its core purpose is styling. You see, unlike the Easy Detangler, the Denman's rows are firm, they're rigid. They're made to create high tension, and that tension is what pulls hair strands together into those gorgeous defined curls. It's incredible for styling, but that same tension can be way too much for just detangling, especially on more fragile hair. And that pro tip? It's gold. Taking out a row or 2 is an amazing hack to customize the brush for your hair. And our third contender, the wet brush. If the Denman is all about control and tension, this one is all about being gentle. It was basically engineered for maximum safety, especially if your hair is fine or prone to breaking. The secret sauce here is its super soft, incredibly flexible bristles. They give you the least amount of tension out of all 3 brushes, which lets them just glide through knots with almost no fight. This is perfect for looser curls, fine hair, or maybe hair that's transitioning and is extra fragile. The trade-off, of course, is that because it's so gentle, it might not have the muscle to get through really dense 4C hair unless you work in really, really small sections. Okay, this little chart puts everything together so clearly. You can literally draw a straight line from the brush's design to its main job and who it's best for. The Easy Detangler's flexible rows, that's for low-tension detangling on 3C to 4C coils. The Denman's firm, high-tension rows, that's for styling and defining curls. And the Wet Brush's super soft bristles, that's all about gentle, low-effort detangling, especially for finer hair. So now that we have all this information, what do you do with it? how do you actually pick the right brush for you? Let's walk through a super simple way to figure it out. Honestly, it just comes down to these 3 steps. First, know your texture. Be real about it. Second, know your goal for that day. Are you just trying to get the knots out so you can deep condition, or are you trying to get the most defined twist out of your life? And third, you just match that goal with the right tool. It's that simple.
But wait, before you click Add to Cart on a new brush, there's one last piece of advice from the source. And honestly, it is the single most important part of this whole conversation. It applies to everyone with every brush.
And here it is, the golden rule. You must always brush your hair when it's damp, or even better, soaking wet and full of conditioner. Natural hair has the most stretch and elasticity when it's wet. Brushing it dry it's a recipe for breakage, frizz, and pain. Seriously, this one step is more important than any brush you could ever buy.
So when you really get down to it, understanding the difference between a detangling tool and a styling tool changes everything. And now it's time to ask yourself, that brush you have in your bathroom right now, is it really on your team? Is it a helpful tool, or could it be the secret villain behind your wash day drama? Definitely something to think about.